From stealing cars and selling them on Facebook,
And you're gonna seriously have them come take it from me knowing that this is the only thing that I have?
We were together, we're not no more, so, hey, why would I pay for a
You
car?
weren't together with Kelly and you're paying all our bill.
to playing the victim and getting a restraining order for his ex.
An order of protection for domestic violence, civil protection from my ex.
Let's dive into the most shocking downfalls in Love After Lockup history, starting with the woman whose cold-hearted manipulation and endless cycle of crime made her the most hated cast member in the show's history. When Destiny Folsom first appeared on Love After Lockup Season 3, she made it crystal clear she wasn't interested in playing the loving girlfriend role. This 28-year-old from California had Sean Osborne wrapped around her finger from day one, and she used that power to destroy him financially and emotionally without showing a single ounce of guilt. Red flags started immediately when Destiny demanded that Sean post her $50,000 bond, which cleaned out his savings account.
She'd be out of jail relatively quickly. Now, she goes back to court just a couple weeks away. If she does miss court or something does go haywire, the last thing I want to have you do is lose $50,000.
Most people would be grateful for such a massive gesture from someone they'd only known through letters and phone calls. But Destiny saw it as her due, not a gift. She treated Sean's financial sacrifice like it was the bare minimum he could do for her. Once she was free, Destiny's true colors came out fast. She had zero interest in building a relationship with Sean's 6 children and made it obvious that she saw them as obstacles to getting more money from their father. She even tried to sell Sean's car after stealing it from him, showing just how little she valued the man who had sacrificed everything to get her out of prison.
If I was you, I'd make sure that your car's in the garage because I'm gonna up.
I never thought in a million years that he would ever me over the way he has.
What made Destiny so infuriating to watch wasn't just her criminal behavior, it was her complete lack of shame about it. She openly admitted to seeing other people while claiming to be engaged to Sean, and when confronted about her cheating, she acted like he was being unreasonable for expecting loyalty. She demanded constant money while giving nothing back except lies and manipulation. Destiny's pattern of criminal behavior continued after the show ended. She was arrested on multiple charges including escape, false impersonation, and failure to appear on a felony charge, leading to additional prison time. The escape charge was particularly serious because it showed she was willing to risk even more jail time rather than face the consequences of her actions.
Yes, the case is getting dismissed, but the DA is refiling on you.
So I'm not getting, like, this is not gonna go away. I'm gonna do time for it.
I'm looking at 7 years.
Even while serving time, Destiny couldn't stay out of trouble. Reports surfaced that she had returned to prison pen pal websites, suggesting she was already looking for her next victim to manipulate while still locked up. This pattern revealed that Destiny viewed relationships as business transactions, where she provided the bare minimum of attention in exchange for maximum financial support. Destiny Folsom represents everything wrong with using people for financial gain while pretending to care about them. She took a lonely man's genuine desire for companionship and turned it into a source of income, leaving him broke, isolated, and emotionally destroyed. Her complete lack of empathy and endless cycle of criminal behavior made her one of the most irredeemable villains in reality TV history. If Destiny's car theft and manipulation were shocking, wait until you hear about the bank robber whose second chance became a crime spree. When Chance Pitt appeared on Love After Lockup with Taylor George, their relationship actually looked promising compared to other couples on the show. Chance was serving time for a 2014 bank robbery that had landed him several years in federal prison, and Taylor, a single mom from Missouri, genuinely believed she could help him turn his life around after his release. Their love story seemed like it might actually work, making Chance's spectacular downfall even more shocking and disappointing.
Chance went to prison for robbing a bank inside of a grocery store. Chance was locked up for 8 years.
Taylor was only 22 when she started dating Chance and met through her ex-boyfriend, who had been locked up with him. She was completely smitten with the idea of having a reformed bad boy boyfriend. She spent hours driving to visit him behind bars and sent him regular money for commissary, believing their love story would have a happy ending once he was free. When Chance was released from prison, he and Taylor moved in together and even welcomed a baby boy, Mason, in 2022. For a brief moment, it seemed like Chance might actually beat the odds and successfully reintegrate into society, but behind the scenes, his old habits and criminal mindset were already starting to surface again.
I don't like seeing Chance yell or be mad about anything. It makes me uncomfortable. Especially in front of the girls. I'm not really the one to be fighting in front of the kids.
Chance's downfall accelerated rapidly in December 2023 when he was arrested for a series of crimes that showed he had learned nothing from his federal prison sentence. The charges included DUI, leaving the scene of an accident, stealing a car, and using a stolen credit card. A combination that revealed Chance was back to making the same destructive choices that had landed him in prison for bank robbery. The DUI charge alone showed that Chance was putting innocent people at risk through his drinking and driving, but the hit and run made it even worse. Instead of taking responsibility for an accident he had caused while intoxicated, Chance chose to flee the scene, showing the same cowardly behavior that defined his entire criminal career. Bond was initially set at $25,000 before being lowered, and by April 2024, prosecutors hit him with multiple felony charges including tampering with a motor vehicle and providing false information to police. The most disturbing chapters of Chance's downfall came in August 2024 when he was arrested in Indiana on charges of domestic battery, DUI, and driving without a license after allegedly pushing his new girlfriend, Alyssa, out of a moving car. This was violence against someone he claimed to care about, showing that Chance's problems had escalated from financial crimes to endangering women's safety. Chance's story represents the worst kind of wasted potential and self-destruction. He had Taylor, who genuinely loved him, a chance to be a father to Mason, and opportunities to build a legitimate life after serving his time for bank robbery. Instead, he chose to repeat the same destructive patterns with added domestic violence that showed his criminal behavior was escalating rather than improving. And then comes the man whose addiction to toxic relationships turned him into reality TV's most pathetic enabler. This 45-year-old from Las Vegas had made dating convicted felons his full-time hobby, and honestly, it's become pathetic to watch. Sean Osborne represents everything wrong with being so desperate for love that you ignore every single red flag waving in your face while destroying your own family relationships in the process. Sean's downfall started with Destiny Folsom, a 28-year-old California woman who was serving time for various charges including theft and drug-related offenses. From day one, this relationship was a complete disaster. But Sean was so blinded by loneliness that he couldn't see he was being played like a fiddle by a master manipulator. He spent his life savings posting her $50,000 bond, thinking he was rescuing his true love when he was actually funding his own destruction.
The insurance policy in this case is for $50,000 because she failed to appear in court. She was on an ankle monitor and she cut the monitor off. She's a flight risk.
The Destiny situation revealed just how naive and desperate Sean really was. This woman took his car, stole his money, and disappeared without a second thought, leaving him broke and humiliated on national television. She even tried to sell his vehicle on Facebook after stealing it from him, showing complete contempt for the man who had sacrificed everything to get her out of prison. Any normal person would have learned their lesson after being robbed blind by someone they trusted, but not Sean. Instead of taking a break from dating criminals and focusing on rebuilding his relationship with his children, Sean immediately started looking for his next prison pen pal like he was addicted to toxic relationships. He began corresponding with Sarah Isaacs during the spin-off Life After Lockup, proving that the Destiny disaster had taught him absolutely nothing about making better choices. Sarah had been imprisoned for involuntary manslaughter charges, meaning she had killed someone, but Sean thought he could save her just like he tried to save Destiny. What made the Sarah situation even more complicated and irresponsible was that she had a daughter from her previous relationship, and Sean tried to play stepdad to this child while barely knowing their mother.
I mean, I missed her first tooth, the first time she crawled, the first time she walked, her first day of kindergarten. I missed all of that, and I can never get those things back.
She knows who our mom is.
I know.
Sean officially married Sarah in August 2021, cementing his commitment to another woman with serious criminal issues while his own children watched their father make the same mistakes over and over again. They welcomed their daughter, Adeline, at the end of 2022, bringing an innocent baby into a relationship built on Sean's desperation and Sarah's need for financial stability. The most heartbreaking aspect of Sean's choices is how he relocated from California to Ohio to be with Sarah after her release, leaving behind his 6 children who had already been emotionally and financially neglected during his obsession with Destiny. Fans have noted that Sean largely ignored his kids' needs while pouring resources into relationships with convicted felons who didn't genuinely care about him. Meanwhile, Sarah had been open about the stress in their relationship, citing Sean's demanding schedule and parenting gaps as significant sources of tension. This pattern shows that Sean's people-pleasing and desperation don't actually create the loving relationships he's seeking. These days, Sean continues making the same mistakes, prioritizing his relationship with a convicted killer over his existing children while wondering why his life keeps falling apart. But Sean's desperate search for love was nothing compared to the woman who blew through a man's entire life savings. Lizzie Combs burst into Love After Lockup as a loud, brash woman who had completely drained Scott Davies' bank account while serving time for her 6th DUI conviction. By the time she was released, Scott had spent nearly $90,000 supporting her and her daughter, believing he had found the love of his life. What he actually found was a master manipulator who saw him as nothing more than a meal ticket.
Lizzie said that Scott helped her all the time with lots of money. When people are in prison and are getting help from men, usually they're considered tricks.
From the moment Lizzie stepped out of prison, she made it clear that Scott's years of devotion meant nothing to her. She constantly criticized his appearance, mocked his personality, and treated him like an embarrassing burden she had to tolerate. This was the same man who had sacrificed his financial security to support her family while she was locked up, and her gratitude lasted exactly 0 seconds. Lizzie's criminal history was extensive. She had spent years making destructive choices that hurt everyone around her, but instead of taking responsibility, she blamed Scott for not being exciting enough to keep her attention. She acted like his loyalty was a character flaw rather than the reason she had any support system at all.
A friendship.
You're gonna push it all the way down to a friendship.
A long-distance friendship with you. We're not intimate.
No, you aren't intimate with me. I don't have a problem with being intimate. You aren't intimate.
What made Lizzie's behavior so infuriating was how she flaunted her disrespect for Scott while still expecting him to pay her bills. She openly flirted with other men, including her ex-husband, while demanding that Scott continue supporting her financially. She had no job, no prospects, and no plan for supporting herself, but still she acted like Scott was lucky to be with her. The most heartbreaking part of Scott and Lizzie's relationship was watching her own daughter, Jasmine, try to warn Scott about her mother's true nature. Even her own child could see that Lizzie was using him, but Scott was so desperate for love that he ignored the warnings from someone who knew Lizzie better than anyone. Jasmine openly called out her mother for taking advantage of Scott's kindness, but Lizzie just laughed it off like it was a joke.
I have risked a lot to be in a relationship with Lizzie. I risked my savings, my friends, my family. But at the end of the day, I think she is worth it.
After the show ended, Lizzie's pattern of criminal behavior continued exactly as expected. She was arrested multiple times for various charges, including probation violations, showing that her time on Love After Lockup taught her nothing about making better choices. Each arrest proved that Scott's investment in her rehabilitation was completely wasted. The most telling aspect of Lizzie's post-show behavior was how quickly she moved on from Scott once she realized she couldn't squeeze any more money out of him. She immediately started looking for new sources of financial support, proving that their entire relationship had been a business transaction from her perspective. Scott's genuine feelings and years of sacrifice meant absolutely nothing to her. But if Lizzie's manipulation was bad, wait until you meet the master manipulator who convinced multiple women they were his one true love. Michael Simmons walked into Love After Lockup with the kind of smooth confidence that should have been an immediate red flag. This was the calculated manipulation of a man who had spent years perfecting his ability to lie with a straight face and make women believe whatever he needed them to believe.
Last season of Love After Lockup, I have moved to Flint, Michigan now. I'm currently on tether. I just enrolled into school for business, entrepreneurship, so that's been one of my passions.
His relationship with Megan was built on a foundation of lies that went far beyond typical relationship deception. Michael convinced Megan that she was his first and only love, that he had been faithful to her while in prison, and that their future together was his top priority. Meanwhile, he was already married to Sarah and actively maintaining a relationship with her while planning his post-prison life with both women. What made Michael's deception so cruel was how he used each woman's insecurities and desires against them. He told Megan exactly what she needed to hear to stay loyal to him, while simultaneously telling Sarah whatever would keep her supporting him financially and emotionally.
Why are you trying to give me an ultimatum from talking to a couple minutes? What's the problem? I'm taking a couple minutes
to understand how you making me feel right now. Go!
How am I making you feel?
Go!
The most infuriating aspect of Michael's manipulation was how effortlessly he maintained his lies, even when caught red-handed. When confronted with evidence of his deception, he would smoothly deflect blame, make excuses, or even convince the women that they were overreacting. His ability to remain calm and collected while destroying people's lives showed a level of emotional coldness that was genuinely disturbing. When Michael's double life was finally exposed on national television, his reaction revealed everything viewers needed to know about his character. Instead of showing genuine remorse for the pain he had caused, Michael acted annoyed that his carefully constructed deception had been discovered. He treated the revelation like a minor inconvenience rather than a betrayal that had destroyed two women's trust and self-esteem.
I had no idea you was doing something on the side, none. You're acting like I was okay that you was engaged to another woman. I didn't know.
Why do you keep saying engaged?
Tell me right now you wasn't engaged to her.
I was not engaged.
Tell me you didn't love her.
I do love Megan.
Michael's post-show behavior proved that his manipulation wasn't limited to just Megan and Sarah. Reports surfaced of him pursuing relationships with multiple other women, using the same tactics of love bombing and false promises that had worked so well in the past. He had learned nothing from having his behavior exposed on national television except to be more careful about getting caught. What made Michael particularly dangerous was his ability to identify vulnerable women and exploit their specific emotional needs. He didn't use a one-size-fits-all approach to manipulation. He carefully studied each woman's personality and circumstances to determine exactly what lies would be most effective. This level of calculated emotional abuse went far beyond simple infidelity. Michael Simmons represents everything wrong with using charm and manipulation to hurt innocent people. He took women's genuine desire for love and companionship and turned it into a weapon against them, leaving lasting psychological damage in his wake. His complete lack of empathy and remorse makes him one of the most genuinely dangerous people the franchise has ever featured. But if Michael's manipulation was disturbing, nothing could prepare fans for the violent past and epic downfall of our next cast member. Derek Warner Jr.'s journey from federal prison to reality TV villain to restraining order filing ex-boyfriend represents the most predictable and satisfying downfall in Love After Lockup history. This 45-year-old Cleveland native had every opportunity to turn his life around after serving nearly a decade behind bars, but instead chose to repeat the same destructive patterns that had already cost him his freedom, his family relationships, and his reputation.
Let me have a good night. I need you to...
You need me to what?
Make me happy, like...
I am.
From the moment Derek appeared on Love After Lockup, his sense of entitlement was obvious to everyone except Monique. He expected her to support him financially and emotionally while he did whatever he wanted with no accountability. When Monique tried to implement basic relationship boundaries like asking where he was going or who he was with, Derek acted like she was being unreasonable and controlling. The cheating scandal that destroyed Derek and Monique's relationship revealed Derek's complete lack of respect for the women who had sacrificed everything to support him.
As soon as I left, like he just really out here just showing his ass. Talking to other women, basically cheating. Wow.
Talking to other women, he just got out.
Right. I know, that's crazy.
He had been sleeping with multiple women around town while Monique was working to pay their bills and planning their future together. When confronted with undeniable evidence of his betrayals, Derek's response showed his true character. He made excuses and tried to justify his actions instead of showing genuine remorse.
You know my heart. You know I'm a good person. You know I'm gonna be good to you. I'm telling you that. Why are you doing that?
Because, I mean, I really came down here to pretty much break up with you and to end things.
This was the same woman who had supported him emotionally and financially for years, visited him in prison regularly, and completely rearranged her life to be with him after his release. His attempt to minimize their relationship revealed how little he valued anyone except himself. The family conflicts that tore apart Derek's relationship with his sister showed his pattern of creating chaos and then stepping back to watch everyone else suffer the consequences. Instead of addressing the legitimate concerns his family had about Monique's controlling behavior and his own poor choices, Derek chose to play both sides and tell each group what they wanted to hear while solving nothing.
And we don't take accountability
So you feeling
and
some
say
type of way
that
that
we
my
did
sister
something.
want to check bitches' temperature? Like what is it? Talking about with that fake ass meat. What's up?
Derek's March 2023 arrest for felonious assault revealed that his violence wasn't limited to drug-dealing activities. He couldn't even serve time in federal prison without attacking other inmates. When Derek was arrested, Monique's immediate reaction spoke volumes about where their relationship really stood. Derek's decision to plead guilty to attempted aggravated assault while serving community control showed his complete inability to learn from his mistakes. Most people who narrowly avoided prison would completely change their lives, but Derek treated his sentence like just another temporary inconvenience he could manipulate his way through without making any real changes. The final chapter of Derek's downfall came when he filed a restraining order against Monique that included cruel details about her weight for no legitimate safety reason. This was Derek's attempt to hurt and humiliate the woman who had wasted years of her life trying to save him. The weight comment revealed everything viewers needed to know about Derek's character. He would use the most intimate details of their relationship as weapons to cause maximum emotional damage.